Welcome to the urban planning and management using remote sensing. Basically, in this training, I will try to add all of aspect basically which we are used in remote sensing for urban planning and management. So, I hope you can easily do all of things after completing this today's session. So, first of all, we already know about the what is the remote sensing. Basically, remote sensing, the science of obtaining information about object or areas from a distance, typically from satellite or aircraft or drone imagery. We are also used for that. And important is urban planning. Basically, when we apply the remote sensing, we can easily get the decision making for sustainable urban development or monitoring the urban growth and environmental changes. We can easily get. Okay? And application in urban growth, basically land use and land cover classification is one kind of very important topic for monitoring urban growth, and we can easily use this topic land use land cover mapping, and we can easily monitor the urban sprawl, how we can easily change the urban area, we can easily monitor using that, as well as we also
Urban
discuss that.
sprawl means
Yeah, I explain one by one.
okay.
Basically, if you know the land use land cover mapping, from here we can just simply separate the urban, and further we try to monitor the urban sprawl or land use land cover change detection, or also impact of the urbanization on pre-urban areas. We also visualize about that. So first of all, you can see this is the one kind of map in urban sprawl in Konarki. So basically in this time we can find out that urban 2000. So basically this type of blue color, this type of build up in year of 2000. Then yellow color, this build up in year of 2010, and red color basically is the urban 2020. So in this map it display the urban spiral for different time, suppose 2000, 2010 and 2020. And if you check the definition, urban sprawl has described as the unrestricted growth in many urban areas of housing, commercial development, and road over the large expanse of land. So in year of 2000, we find out only for this blue color pixel there was urban, but 2020 it also increased. Okay, it also increased for different purpose. It created the commercial development, or it created the road or housing. Okay, and 2020 find out that. So it's one kind of thing. It described as the unrestricted growth in many urban areas, such as for housing, for commercial development, and road about the large expanse of land. And this type of map, how we can create, further I also explain about that. Basically, if you know, you already know about the land use land cover classification. So just simply make the land use land cover classification for 2000, 2010 and 2020, and further just simply separate only for the one class, urban class, separate for urban class 2000, then separate for urban class in 2010, and separate the urban class for 2020. Then we can easily represent the urban sprawl. So how we can create, I will also show you the further later. Then urban expansion. So it called the urban expansion mapping. So basically urban expansion in Konarki, we find out the urban expansion. Basically you can see this is the urban area in 2000. This is the urban area for 2010, and this is the urban area for 2020. So this is the one kind of urban expansion mapping. And urban expansion is defined simply as the physical extension of the geographical footprint of towns, cities, and metropolitan areas into the surrounding countryside, encompassing surrounding villages and towns in the process. So in this time, first of all, in 2000, we find out only for this urban. 2010, mainly interval 10 years, we find out that, and also 10 years, we find out this type of urban increased in the surrounding village. We find out that, or periphery of the urban area, we can easily find out from here. So it's called the urban extension map. And when you make the urban extension map, First of all, you need to make the land use land cover classification. Okay, suppose you make the classification for build up, then water body, then land, then also vegetation. Then from here just separate only for the one class. Suppose only for the build up. Okay, for the different decade. Further, we can easily represent this type of map. So how I can create this type of map? Further, I have to discuss about that. And then it's very important topic. It's called the direction and distance for urban expansion. Okay, basically which direction urban increase we can easily identify using these things, direction and distance for urban expansion. So basically if you check, it's one kind of map. So in this map we can easily generate, basically we generate the center of urban CBD, and from here we can create some direction such as north direction, northeast direction, then east direction, southeast direction, southwest direction, west northwest direction. So different direction we created, and further it also calculated, suppose in 1998 how much build up in the north direction, how much build up in the northeast direction, how much build up in east direction, how much build up in southeast direction. So it calculated the area for different time, and further they also calculate the difference, how much increasing between the 1998 to 2008. So it's very important because using this method, mainly direction and distance for urban expansion, we can easily identify which area or which direction urban is increased day by day. We can easily get that. So I'll just show you this topic also, how we can easily create this type of urban direction map and also calculate the area for each direction, how much area of build up. Then you can easily get the idea how we can easily work with that. Then sustainable urban development, so it's another topic. So now we just talk about only for that topic, mainly land use land cover related topic, urban expansion, urban direction and distance, urban sprawl. So this type of things we can easily do just if you know how we can easily make the land use land cover classification, then you can easily do this type of analysis. Okay, direction or distance for urban expansion mapping, urban sprawl mapping, all of those. Just if you know how we can easily make the land use land cover classification for different time period. So for that, simply just call the urban or build up, and then you can easily make this type of analysis, direction and distance for urban expansion, further urban expansion, then also do for the urban sprawl. Okay, so this type of things we can easily do if you know how we can easily make the land use land cover mapping. Okay, so this is the one kind of topic for the urban development, as well as we also learn about the sustainable urban development, how we can easily monitor using remote sensing technique for sustainable urban development. First of all, sustainable development, you need to know what is urban heat island mapping and mitigation strategy. You have to know. Okay, so if you identify for your cities where you have find out that urban heat island, and then you just simply take some step to mitigation for urban heat island, as well as you can also do it for the green space analysis, mainly urban green space analysis for urban ecosystem health. So this is another approach for sustainable urban development, as well as carbon sequestration potential assessment we also do for sustainable urban development. Suppose you can see it's one kind of map. In this time we can identify this type of place. We find out that urban heat island, basically this type of place is more warmer than the periphery region. We find out that more warmer. Okay, so it's one kind of urban heat island place, also this red color urban heat island place. So now what is the strategy to mitigate the urban heat island effect? So this is one kind of sustainable urban development. So we also discuss about that, as well as green space analysis. It's very important. Suppose you can see this one kind of mapping for Dhaka city boundary. So here we find out that this type of red color, yes,
I've seen the carbon sequestration.
Yeah.
Yes, what carbon concentration means is the amount of carbon dioxide gases,
Carbon sequestration is one kind of topic. So basically, how carbon generate or how carbon find out for a specific. Okay, so it's one kind of gases information. Okay,
Okay.
mainly carbon dioxide or carbon. Okay, or carbon monoxide,
Yes.
including. So you can see here, it's one kind of mapping. So basically, it is the green space. Okay. So in this time, if you just simply compare the green space comparison, suppose 1992 2023. Okay. So 1992 2023, we find out that in 2023, find out that only 22.7% green space in Dhaka city boundary, and in 1990, okay, very first time 1990, we find out that 77.3% green space. Okay, so here you can see this type of red color, it was vegetation in 1990. Okay, but in 2023 we find out only for those green space, only for this green or vegetation in Dhaka city. And how much area? We find out that 22.7% area in the green in 2023, and 77.3% we find out that urban green in 1990. So a lot of vegetation loss due to the construction or infrastructure. So this type of region. So how we can easily monitor these type of things, I also show you the further later for practical session. So this is the urban green space. We also monitor using this way for different time period. In this case, it shows the result for 1992 2023. So then infrastructure and utilities. Okay, so infrastructure and utilities, in it including the road network. Suppose primary road, residential road, service road, secondary road, tertiary road, trunk road. So this type of roadmap, it also including the infrastructure and utilities, such as mapping the urban road network. Okay, so we can easily create the urban road network, as well as also optimize the public transportation system, and then water distribution and drainage networks assessment. Okay, so you can easily visualize the urban infrastructure layer. So just you can simply add all of layer, then you can easily create for your own urban area. So this is the major road, this is a tertiary road, then secondary road, primary road, service road, residential road, footway. Okay, we can easily generate this type of thing. Just make the layer, okay, overlay with your imagery or your study area. Then you can create the road network mapping and also take this. And disaster risk management, it also another topic for urban disaster, such as flood disaster or earthquake disaster. So this type of risk management we also do using remote sensing also. So here you can see it's one kind of example. In this example, we find out that mainly water logging place. Okay, so this type of place we find out that water in the rainy season. Okay, or rainy season we find out that this type of place have the water, but dry season there is no water. So it's one kind of example. Flood risk assessment and vulnerability mapping we also do, as well as also earthquake damage assessment using satellite imagery, also monitoring urban fire risk zone. Okay, suppose which place for the fire risk zone we also try to identify using the remote sensing technique. And then also climate and environmental monitoring. For the climate, basically if you check the this type of gases information, we can easily generate from the satellite imagery. Basically you can see here for this map, it show the Delhi city nitrogen dioxide map of Delhi. So here find out that this place have the more concentration of nitrogen dioxide. Okay, due to the infrastructure or due to the different types of construction. Okay, so due to the different types of human made activities, for this study area, for this place we find out that lot of nitrogen dioxide density, it's high density we find out in here, but other place you can see it show the normal or low we find out for that. So this type of mapping also help you to get the decision for urban health condition. We also get from here, and it our air quality assessment with Sentinel 5 we also use for getting the climate and environmental monitoring, such as your environment, mainly air, water, or soil. So this type of things we can also monitoring using remote sensing for the urban, or monitoring the urban water bodies. Urban water bodies where is high polluted water. We also put this one, and also urban climate modeling. Okay, so urban climate modeling it also possible using the remote sensing technique in here. Then smart cities and urban invention. So basically in the smart cities we can easily find out that suitability index mainly EV, electric vehicle charge station. Okay, electric vehicle service charge station we can also find out from here. Suppose EV charging station suitability mapping. Suppose in your city you want to identify where is the high suitable place for electric vehicle charging station, then suitable, low suitable, and unstable place. We are just use different types of factor, and using this factor we can easily create find out the suitable place for your in urban cities for high suitable, then suitable, low suitable, and unstable. Okay, so this type of things we can easily find out using GIS and remote sensing technique. And further, urban waste management optimization. So basically which place is more effective for the urban waste management, we also do it. And then energy efficient mapping using thermal remote sensing. Suppose you can easily electric vehicle charging station location analysis we also do. And further, where is the high suitable, low suitable, unstable, and suitable, we can easily find out. And from there we can easily use it for the smart cities and urban inversion, we also do it. So this is another example, as well as we also do for the social and economic aspect. Okay, social and economic aspect. If you check this type of mapping, so basically it's called the night light map. Okay, so night light map is very important data for that social and economic aspect, because population density estimation we also do. So basically where we find out that high population density, this place we also find out that high night light activities. Okay, suppose if you check the this is the capital of Bangladesh. So this place we find out that this population density is much bigger than any other cities. So that's why you find out this place has the more light in the night light activities. Not only for that, as well as socio-economic inequalities we also find out. Suppose you can see this place is more developed. Okay, this place is more developed, and all of cities are the more developed, but you can see this type of hill track area is not much developed. Okay, because it shows the black color, so there is no activity in the night time. Okay, but this type of developed cities, we find out that lot of activities in the night time. So this data is also help you to identify socio-economic inequalities mapping using nighttime light data. So we can also find out this where is the high socio-economic development. We find out that night light map is also high. We find out that frequency is also high, because this type of capital or this type of it's a seaport. Okay, seaport area. So that's why we find out that night light activity is very high. So this place is more. Also you can see this is the river bank. So this place is the river bank. Also this is a river or river bank. We find out that also it's a mangrove forest. Okay, also you can see we also find out this place is also not much nightlight activities. Okay, but it's a another city. Okay, this city we also find out that nightlight activities, it's a hill track study area, so it's a hill track region, so there is not much nightlight activity, so that's why it shows about that black color. So this data is very helpful to identify socio-economic inequalities mapping using nighttime light data, as well as identify urban poverty hotspot. Okay, suppose in the urban area, if you just apply the data, and then you can easily identify in the urban area which place is low the show the track pixel. Okay, suppose if you check this type of, suppose it's one kind of place, so this place is more developed, so that's why we find out that this high frequency of light. but you can see the nearby place we find out the black color. So it means that this place we can also find out the urban property hotspot. Okay, this type of place we find out that this place is the property not much developed, but in the center we find out that it's a more developed, because in the night time there are a lot of activities we find out in here. Okay, so this data is also helpful to identify for this type of way, mainly population density estimation. We also do also socio-economic inequalities mapping using night light data, or identify urban property hotspot using this data, as well as heritage and cultural preservation. It also important. Basically, preservation of the historical site using remote sensing. Suppose any historical site, we can easily detect the remote sensing, and further we also try to make the historical data analysis for that. Okay, for the historical site using remote sensing, and then monitoring the impact of the urban growth on cultural zone. Okay, suppose for growing the urban, what is the effect of the cultural zone, as well as we also do for the mapping the urban tourism hotspot. Okay, so urban tourism hotspot we also identify using the satellite imagery, as well as if you want health and urban well-being, we also monitor using this remote sensing technique. Suppose if you check this map, so basically in this time, based on the air quality data, suppose for this place it's the capital of Bangladesh, so for this place is more air pollution. Okay, due to the high intensity of vehicle, or also infrastructure. So this type of region, this place is more developed, as well as also more polluted place. Okay, so now if you want, you can also check it what the risks, mainly health and urban well-being, what is the risks about that. We can easily health risk mapping. Okay, so this place is more health risks than any other place in Bangladesh, because this place is more developed, and there are a lot of gases. For nitrogen dioxide density is very high, then carbon monoxide, so that's why this place have the more health risks. If you want, you can also compare the NDVI vegetation and air pollution data. Just use these two data, then we try to compare what the scenario of the health risks. So we find out that this place is the more health risks than any other cities in Bangladesh, as well as access to the healthcare spatial analysis you also do, as well as also urban noise pollution monitoring. It's very important when you want to check for the urban noise pollution. But for the noise pollution monitoring, we also need the ground truth data. Okay, ground truth data, we are just simply take some ground truth data from your study area, then we can easily make the map for the urban noise pollution monitoring. Okay, and NDVI map. Yeah, please.
In urban noise pollution, which data can be used? Whether the satellite imagery?
No. In this time, we need to simply visit our study area, and then we simply monitor the sound level for the specific location. Okay, monitor the sound level. Okay, suppose you find out the 100 decibel or 80 decibel. Okay, you just need to take the data for GPS location with their sound level.
So I must have a special equipment for detecting the noises.
Yes. So then this data we can simply use the interpolation technique or IDWI technique or kriging. Then we can easily find out that full cities where we find out that high noise pollution, where is the low, medium, moderate. We can easily get the decision from this data. So basically, it's a very vast topic for the urban development and management. Basically, there are the lot of topic we can including in this part, and you can also do for the policy and decision support using the remote sensing about that, such as GIS for urban zoning and planning regulation, as well also developing urban resilience plan. Also to identify optimal urban expansion area. Okay, it's very important identifying the optimal urban expansion area. We also did using that. So this is a lot of topic in here. So okay, I'll try to complete one by one, because all of topics are very important for the urban development and management. Okay, so let's go ahead to discuss about that, and I hope you already know about that how we can easily make the land use land cover classification mapping. So in this case, I simply
Yes.
skip this part, and then I start from urban sprawl and urban expansion, then direction and distance. Okay, further urban heat island. I hope you already know about that urban heat island, how we can easily detect. Basically, in the 7 days training program, I will discuss about that how we can easily make the LST using Landsat imagery, and further how we can easily make that urban heat island, identify urban heat island. Okay, green
Yes.
space is not covered, so I also show you this process how we can easily monitor the green space, and also road network is not covered, so I also show you the good road network how you can easily do it. Then also discuss about that this risk assessment how we can do about that, and air pollution I hope you already know about that how we can easily make that
Yeah.
air pollution, different types of gases, it also already completed. And this is not it's not completed, so it's the electric vehicle charging station suitable mapping. So the suitability analysis we also did using the Google Earth engine also, so this thing I also show you that. And also night light map data, if not complete I will show you that. And then heritage and cultural preservation. So basically for that we also monitor, suppose any heretical place we can easily monitor. I'll show you this one. And it's very important for the health and urban well-being how we can easily check the risks mapping. Okay, based on the NDVI and air pollution, mainly vegetation and air pollution, we compare and then we can I'll show you this process. So let's go try to start one by one. Okay, so first of all, urban green space, we will discuss about that, how we can easily create the write the code and discuss about that.
Sorry, sir. Can you add the font size, please?
Just yeah.
Very small. Yes, somewhat.
Okay. So now we try to identify for urban vegetation green space. We try to identify for different time period, and further we try to calculate the area. So for that, first of all, I simply import my study area. It's not need.